Hello, how's it going? The use of the cloud brings great benefits in the medium and long term, both in terms of applications and economics. However, if not properly managed, it can also be a target for cyberattacks. In this video, we will know in depth the characteristics of a cloud service, as well as the considerations we must take into account when migrating our information to a cloud service to minimize risks. So let's have a look. What is cloud computing? The cloud, also known as cloud computing, cloud services, or cloud computing, are the technologies or a global network of servers with specific functions connected to function as a single ecosystem. What are the characteristics of the cloud? Scalability and elasticity. Cloud resources are not limited. Because of their capacity, your technologies will adapt to the load they are under, so you won't run out of storage or compute capacity for your application. Independence. One of the main features of cloud computing is being able to access any device or management console. Security. Cloud users are responsible for ensuring application-level security. Cloud service providers are responsible for physical security. Costs are reduced. Infrastructure is provided by a third party and does not have to be purchased for one-time or IT tasks. Performance. All resources are available to optimize the bottom line. Integrations are generated so that the user has greater efficiency and performance to track and make corrections to further increase resource capacity. Types of cloud. Private cloud, consisting of a single organization with its own cloud of servers and software for use without a public access point. Public cloud. Several companies can use it simultaneously, sharing resources and offering services. The cloud provider is responsible for security maintenance. Hybrid cloud, composed of two or more infrastructures between public and private clouds, which remain as single entities, united by one technology. Community cloud, sharing resources between companies or organizations that pull their resources in the cloud to solve a common problem. Cybersecurity threats in the cloud. Threats in the cloud depend on the type of service contracted and how it is contracted and deployed. Data theft. This can be the result of a targeted attack, human error, application vulnerabilities, or poor security practices. Poor identity and access management. Poor management of identity, passwords, or credentials can result in cybercriminals accessing, modifying, and deleting data, stealing information or spying, as well as injecting applications or malicious code that appears to come from a legitimate user. Insecure API. One of the fundamental aspects of cloud services security is the programming interfaces for creating applications, as they have to be designed with security policies that guarantee the protection of information. System vulnerabilities. System vulnerabilities can be exploited by cyber attackers to infiltrate, steal data, gain control, or disrupt services. Attacks from the inside. A malicious administrator may have access to sensitive information and may have increased levels of access to more critical systems and data. Advanced persistent threats, a PT. Advanced persistent threats are a type of attack that infiltrates systems to compromise a system that houses valuable information. Denial of service, DDoS attacks. A DDoS, distributed denial of service, attack is an attempt to exhaust the resources available to a network, application, or service so that its legitimate users cannot access it. Cloud risks. It is necessary to perform a risk assessment of the cloud that may affect the service to be hired, so that, in this way, the security measures to be implemented are established. These are some of the risks of the cloud. Access by privileged users. An employee with administrator privileges accesses when he should not or acts with bad intentions, modifying data or configurations. Regulatory noncompliance. A regulatory noncompliance occurs when the supplier does not comply or does not allow us to comply with our legal obligations. Lack of knowledge of data location. Purchasing services with a data hosting provider in a data center whose location is unknown implies a risk of not knowing the legislation of other countries. Lack of data isolation. When contracting cloud services, companies share the cloud infrastructure with others. It is necessary that the provider manages that the data of different companies are not mixed and that each one only has access to their own. Unavailability of the service in the event of a disaster or incident. It is important to be aware that if the provider suffers a serious incident or disaster and does not have a continuity plan, they will not be able to continue providing service. Lack of investigative support. In the event of an incident, it is necessary to review access to data to find out what has happened. The provider is required to guarantee access to activity logs. How to reduce risks in the cloud. Privileged user access. For mitigation, it is necessary to create a council with the provider so that the users who have privileges are only those who should have them. Non-regulatory compliance. External audits and security certifications are important to mitigate non-regulatory compliance. Recovery. To reduce this risk, it is necessary to require data recovery capability and estimated time of recovery from suppliers. Data localization. To mitigate the risks of data localization, it is necessary to know the regulatory framework applicable to data storage and processing. Data isolation. To mitigate this risk, data at rest needs to be isolated and encryption procedures need to be performed by experienced personnel. Investigation support. The vendor must ensure that logs and data are centrally managed. Long-term viability. The customer must be confident that they will be able to recover all data in the event of a change of structure or management by the provider. 4 best practices for cloud security. 1. Define a robust service level agreement, SLA. When acquiring services from a cloud service provider, it is extremely important to establish the responsibilities of the parties involved under the contract, where the levels of control, access, services, and security of the same are set. 2. Establish the design of the security architecture. Both parties have to integrate, align, and detail the security architecture contract used in the environment to be contracted. 3. Request advanced perimeter protection. Perimeter security has to be considered for the protection of information, so it is recommended to require these advanced security services. 4. Enable ethical hacking. Properly planned vulnerability scanning and ethical remediation should be allowed for the cloud. This type of scanning should be done by a company outsourced by the provider that the company deems trustworthy. Thank you for watching this video, and we hope this information helps you. Please also share and like to help us to continue making great videos. And visit our website www.cybermatters.info.